my channel. My name is Healing Honey. If it's your first time here, I want you guys to get to know me a little bit better because I realize that I've just been creating so many videos and you guys don't really know that much about me and my story. And so if you've been around for a while, you know that I used to create makeup and hair videos and things like that because I am such a creative person. Check out my Etsy store too. I'm always just creating art of some form. But I realized that as I've been learning about us on a deeper level, as far as like spiritually, where we really come from and self-love and self-worth, like I wanted to share these things, how to break addictions, like healing your life, self-healing, because we're told so many lies in this world, like from the time we enter this world. And so this life journey is just all about self-discovery for me. I'm such a nerd in my heart. I love to learn. That's like the only content I consume these days. It's like either something art-based, like music, or learning about spirituality or spiritual things, esoteric things. And so that's why I made such a big shift on my channel. And so if you're here, I'm so grateful. I just passed 500 subscribers and I'm like, my dreams are manifesting because I want to just connect with you guys, serve from my heart, because I feel like I've learned so much from my soul tribe that God has revealed to me out there in the world, like online and things like that. So I feel like it's my duty to give back and share with you guys too. So drop me a comment, let me know who's here. If any of my old friends came across my channel, like people I used to kick it with, people I grew up with, they would be like, who is she? What is she talking about? A sacred relationship? Just really not recognize me anymore. And that's the beauty of rebirth and transformation. When you let God work on you, when you're open to that, you're gonna change so much. And it's not so much that that's who I was in the past. This is who I am. And that was hiding before. I was conforming to other things. And yeah, so let me tell you guys a little bit more about my story. Give this video a like if you enjoy it. So I grew up in Southern California in LA County. And if you're from LA, then you know you have to be real specific, okay? Because LA is so huge, and if you're not born in Los Angeles, people are like, you're not from LA. Okay, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, okay? San Fernando Valley girl, the 818. And that's why so many times when I'm editing my videos, I'll say the word like so much, and because you can take the girl out of California, but you cannot take California out the girl. I loved living in California, but I feel like the image of California is so much different than if you're from there, then you know that. It's just like any other place. And there's a big, huge facade that it's this wonderful place, but there's still hoods, there's still poverty, everyone's just trying to make it. It's just like every other place in the world, but we do have the best weather, I would say that, you know. My dad's from South Central LA and my mom was raised in East LA, like first generation. Her parents are from Mexico, and so she was Mexican American, my dad's Black, and they met at Cal State Northridge when they were really young. They fell in love and decided to get married, and they had me. So you guys, even though this was almost the 90s, that was still pretty controversial. A mixed couple, which is ridiculous, and so that really played a big part in my childhood, like my self-identity, because there was always like some issue with race, like whether I was in school or even at home, being raised with two different cultures. And so I heard a lot of things like from each side. There's still, like when I was growing up in the 90s, there was so much tension. Like you would think that Black Mexicans both considered minority, but there was like a lot of hate, a lot of division, a bunch of crap that later I realized a lot of that stems from the ego and just wanting to feel powerful. And when you are taught in school that you are lucky to be a free person, when you're taught in school that your only history is that you were a slave, you know, and just all this negative programming, like we're never really taught about our true origins and how there's so much more to our history. And as a people, like division is created, race has been created, and all these things to keep us separate from each other. Even countries, you know, it's all an illusion. A state, like who drew these lines, you know, and where did they come from? Wars and things like that. And so It's helped me to, the things I've been through in the past have helped me see more clearly now how we're all connected. You know, we're all actually gods. Just having an experience, and God loves variety. How many plants are there? How many fruits? As people, of course, we all look different and we're unique. That's the beautiful part. So there's no need to hate someone else. But unfortunately, I experienced, you know, that growing up. I experienced the competition and the ego, the separation, the division, the hate, a lot of racism, even in LA, even in California. So I can only imagine in other places it was probably even crazier, you know. And so it's ridiculous. Spirituality teaches you the truth of just oneness and unity, you know, with God. And so it's beautiful. But yeah, so my parents ended up getting divorced when I was really young, like 5 years old. And I have a little brother who's, well, he's 1 year younger than me. And so I'm the oldest one. And I have a really big family, and everyone's pretty close. A lot of traditions, a lot of heavy on culture, heavy on like, this is how we've been doing things. This is how we're going to continue to do things. And somewhere in there, I just got a lot of warped ideas about life. And by the time I was like, from like 15 to 25, I was just like with the wrong crowd. Yes, I was in all the smart classes, you guys, because I do love to learn. That has always stayed the same. But outside of class, I was with the wrong people. I was hanging out with people and their friends were in gangs. I was hanging out with people and they were selling drugs. I was hanging out with people and just doing the wrong stuff on the wrong side of the tracks, like in the wrong areas. And LA has a lot of rich areas, but it has a lot of crazy stuff too. And so I was making the wrong choices. And now I understand that, you know, I needed to go through those things to learn some harsh lessons, but it's pretty crazy. I didn't know who I was. I was just lost in the world. My parents had me so young too, and their own background. Like, as you evolve spiritually, you gain so much compassion because it was not their fault or their parents' fault or anything like that. And you stop blaming like the school systems, the government, the world, and you recognize, learn from one another and make choices. And so we're so powerful. No matter what you've been through, like you can always change. No matter what you've been through, like you can always grow and do better. And that's what we're here to do, but it's up to you, you know? And so to be honest with you, I had to get away from California, away from my family, away from everything I knew, friends or relationships in my past. Like I had to break away from all that, and I didn't want to do it. I remember crying at my mom's house, I don't want to leave. But it was so important. God had plans for me, like my own higher self, my own soul had plans for me of like, nah, you're not done. Like there's so much more to life than just getting high all the time and drinking all the time and, you know, barbecues and rap music and all this crazy stuff, like the way that I grew up. It's not about judging it. It's about, was that really me inside, or was that just what I was used to? You know, and the same thing with the people around you. Like comfort can be such a trap, you guys, and familiarity, such a trap. Like you don't really get to know who you are until you're isolated, like until you're alone. That's when you really have a chance to grow. So it's like a lot of times you have to go away to grow. You have to isolate to know like who you are, because now you don't have those voices telling you who you are. You don't have those influences. You don't have all the outside chatter trying to keep you in a box. And so you get to really listen to your own soul. And so that's what happened for me. But not until I was 30, not until I had a daughter, you know, who was like 2 years old. And I moved to another state, like on my own, just with my kid, and kind of just started to have a fresh start. But you guys, the rebirth process is so raw and so intense. Okay, so when people talk about spiritual awakenings, this is not so much a fun process. Everything you know comes crashing down. You lose everyone out of your life for a reason, because you're transforming inside. And so there's really nothing we can't heal, and on our own, we're so powerful. That's why I named this channel Healing Honey, because everything we need is on earth already. You know, the tools are already within you, inside of you. And yeah, so when I talk about self-love, it's because growing up, like I experienced self-hate. Like I hated who I was. Like I hated me because of X, Y, and Z. So during this rebirth process, I've learned to love me, fall in love with me. It's not narcissistic, it's self-love. Like when you think about the greatest commandment, it's to love the Lord your God with all your heart. Okay, so you learn that God is you. So you're loving God, you're loving you. How could you not? You can't even love anybody else unless you truly love yourself. And the second commandment is like it, right? Like love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so loving one another, loving yourself deeply, truly, you know, not superficial, not if they do what you say, not if they behave a certain way, but like truly loving. And when you guys, when you isolate, and I talk, like when you have a chance to just be alone and you want to know who you are without like any distractions, you start to, it's like this endless journey of self-discovery. And it's so cool because if you allow your mind to open, you're gonna have new things come in. And so the trouble with growing up is that like, we always want everything to just be handed to us. Like, this is the origins of God. This is how you do life. Like you go to school and then you get a job and you get married and then you work till you're 65. Like it's sometimes hard to break out of the box and be like, well, is that really what I want? Like, well, why can't I use my own talents to make money? Like, well, what if I want to travel before I get married? Or what if I don't do it this way? What if I want a different type of life? And like, you can have that. You know, like this life is yours to create. You don't have to follow what society says. You don't have to, we don't have to like hate each other. We don't have to subscribe to this life that is like been predetermined either by society, your parents, whatever. You don't have to do that. Like when you tap in with yourself, let your own soul be your guide. At least that's how I see life. And that's what I had a chance to like learn during this rebirth process, is like coming back to myself. Who am I? What are my talents? And you guys, it's really cool because you're going to uncover things about yourself that you didn't even know. You're going to tap into gifts you didn't even know you had when you allow yourself to, but you have to be open because everything down here is about free will, and you're infinite. Like your soul is a piece of God. And so death, it's an illusion. You know, we just keep growing and evolving, reincarnating until we get it right in a sense. Grow, learn the lessons, move from our heart. So you guys, I don't know what lifetime this is for me, but I know it's a beautiful one. And like, that's why I spend so much of my time now just wanting to give to you guys, because I'm feeling so good inside. But it took all these like dark lessons to get there. And so like when I talk about peace, it's because I've experienced chaos. You know, I've seen it outside. I've heard the gunshots and I've seen terrible things, and inside my internal world just hurting, you know, until I found that peace within me. And that's what I'm here to do, is like to share how we can do that and to learn from one another, because I'm not done and like neither are you. Like we're constantly growing and evolving and learning. And that's what this channel is about. And so I hope that this helps you in some way, like get to know my heart, like get to know me a little bit better. And maybe some of the things that I've been through, maybe you can relate. Also with relationships, you guys, because I know for so many, especially girls out there, you know, like if you were not loved properly growing up, if you weren't taught what love is, then you didn't have that self-love for yourself. It wasn't your fault, but that's just what it is. So that means you're going to be making decisions in your life that are actually hurting you. And you don't know why. Things are not going right. You don't know why. And so I feel like those have been some of my strongest lessons when it comes to relationships, of just like making horrible decisions because I didn't love myself. And so on this channel, we're going to talk about the internal world and how to heal ourselves so that we can feel whole and complete and in our divinity, in our divine feminine, in our power, you know, because I know how it feels to feel powerless and helpless and like a victim, but we're not victims. We're co-creators of our life. We're powerful and strong, and you're here to shine. So don't hide yourself. I know when I was growing up, I felt insecure, and so I would always want to hide because if no one saw me, then they couldn't criticize me or they couldn't tell me whatever. But, you know, the truth is that you're born to shine. You're a star. We don't have to look up to celebs because you're a star in your own right, you know. And yeah, so you guys, let me know your thoughts on this video, on my rebirth story. Share me yours, you know. Write me on Instagram. Who's on this channel? Add me on Instagram. Write me my DMs. You know, there's so much more content I have coming out for you guys. I love you so much. I'm sending you power and love and healing on your journey. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.